Hello everyone, in this video let us discuss how to make a timetable. In case you're wondering whether you need to make a timetable or not, let me tell you something. All the highly successful people, they follow a timetable, and that means they follow a strict schedule and they live their life with a strict discipline. And there is a reason behind it. If you want to achieve something in your life, you of course have a goal in your mind, and to achieve that goal, you can actually break up your goal into several small activities that you need to do over the period of time. And you need to do it not just for 1 or 2 or 3 days, but you need to do it over the years. And that is how there is a very great importance of following a timetable, because when you follow a timetable you not only achieve things on a daily basis, but you also develop this habit of doing something consistently. So in this video let us discuss how we can make a timetable. So you might be wondering, how do you start? How do you start building a timetable and following it? So let us go through different things that you can do. First of all, you need to sit down and take a piece of paper. It can be a notepad, and just divide your day into small time slots. Maybe you can start your day when you wake up in the morning, and then maybe you can divide your whole day into a time slot of maybe 2 or 3 hours. So just create this on a blank paper, and then divide your day, divide your activities, divide the studies that you need to do into primary and secondary activities. So maybe there are some subjects that you need to focus on. There are certain things that you really need to first study. So those are basically your primary subjects, and it can be your primary activities. So divide your activities, divide the subjects that you need to do. Maybe you want to finish a specific course, so just make sure that you know that these courses are important and these courses are probably not that important. So you need to divide those activities, and then on your notepad, or maybe you can also build a Google Sheet or maybe an Excel sheet on your computer, and start filling up your day based on what you want to do and how much time you think you can devote on different activities. In the beginning, you can probably take a guess. If this is the first time you're doing this activity, if you have never studied by following a timetable, or maybe not by following a strict timetable, what you can do, you can take a guess, and maybe after a week or two, or maybe after a month, you can always improvise, you can always refine your timetable. So the important thing here is to understand that every day you need to allocate maybe 2 or 3 hours, I would say 3 hours, which is totally uninterrupted dedicated time. So it can be early in the morning, which is definitely a preferred choice for everyone, because when you wake up early in the morning, you don't really have any interruptions. Nobody will be bothering you early in the morning. So try to wake up early. If possible, wake up at 4 o'clock and maybe spend 3 hours or at least 2 hours every day without any interruption. And then when you follow your day, keep track of whatever you're doing, and measure it against the plan effort. So let us say if you initially plan to spend 4 hours or 5 hours on studying, and you were able to finish maybe, or maybe you were able to spend only 3 hours. So just mention it somewhere on maybe your notepad or maybe on a Google Sheet, because you need to keep track of how much effort, uh, how many number of hours you are able to put in on a regular basis. So this is important because you need this data, you need this information to understand whether you will be able to follow your timetable properly or not. And if you think you are able to follow your timetable as per your planned effort in the beginning. If you plan to, let us say, spend 5 hours every day and you do it for the whole week, then treat yourself, maybe watch a movie or maybe eat your favorite food. So if you treat yourself regularly, you will get more motivation when you do it the next week. And let me give you some examples. If you ask me how much you should study every day, so let me give you some examples. So usually someone who is a topper, people who are always ahead of others in your class, they usually spend 35 or even more number of hours per week, and that means they study actually 5 hours every day. And when you say study means that the amount of time they are putting into actually reading a book or going through the course material. It is not really the effort that you put in by just attending your classes, because that is not really studying. You're just in a class, and you need to, of course, spend some time redoing those things and making sure that you also revise your course on a regular basis. And someone who is spending, let us say, 3 hours or maybe 2 hours per day, they are usually people who are average students in your class. So this will probably give you some idea. If you want to be in the top, you should at least plan to study 35 hours per week, and that actually means studying 5 hours. And this may seem a bit ambitious, but if you start slowly, it is not very difficult to achieve. So let us take a look at one simple example of a timetable. So this is one example of a timetable. You can, of course, make your own timetable, but the whole idea here is that you need to first divide your day into different time slots. So, for example, in this example, we have a time slot in the morning, which is 4 a.m. till 7 a.m., and that means that we are trying to study 3 hours for doing primary study, basically the subjects that are really important. You may want to study them in the morning. Then, of course, you will probably go to your college, you will spend time traveling, maybe you will take your lunch. So, I'm not really considering these time slots as your studying session, but it is always good to keep track of it, because even going to the college every day or on a regular basis, maintaining your attendance is quite important, and there is no harm in keeping track of whether you went to college or not. So this is something that you can do. You can divide your day into different time slots and make sure that the slots when you actually study something, you keep track of those time slots. So, for example, in this particular example, we have 4 a.m. till 7 a.m., which is probably doing some primary activity, primary study, and we are spending 3 hours. We are trying to spend 3 hours. And similarly, when you reach home after probably taking a break, or maybe once you have uh, probably uh, relaxed a bit, then you may want to study 6 to 8, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day. And this is something that you can do for maybe on a subject which is not very important, but still you need to uh, go through those subjects. So you can probably spend your revision time uh, around this time. And of course, after 8 o'clock, you can probably spend maybe 1 hour, or maybe I think half an hour on just relaxing, watching some YouTube videos. So try to sleep before 10 p.m., or I should say, if you want to wake up early, like 4 a.m., then you should probably sleep by 9 p.m. for sure. And if you do it on a regular basis, then your body will get used to it. You will automatically wake up early in the morning. And when you keep track of your time, you can always use a simple sheet or maybe a Google sheet where you can have some conditional formatting. So whenever you study, let us say 1 hour or maybe zero uh, number of hours, so that means that you didn't really um, achieve what you wanted to do. and it will probably give you some feedback immediately on the Excel sheet. You can also use a piece of paper. It doesn't really matter. You can just mark it manually. But the whole idea about tracking your effort, tracking your timetable is to remind you continuously and to have this visibility all the time that you're on track or you're probably not on track. And you can also do some total here. Like for example, if you take a look at this example, if we follow everything perfectly, we will probably study 93 hours on primary activities and 62 hours on secondary activities, which is definitely, I would say, not always possible. But if you also keep track of your actual effort, the actual number of hours you are spending on studying, then you can probably understand your efficiency and how much you are following the timetable. And by the way, by just following timetable, it doesn't really mean that you are actually doing something valuable, but it will give you a very good indication, because if you are just spending 3 hours every day trying to do something, then you will eventually do something and you will probably get used to it. Your mind will get used to it. And the whole idea about this timetable is basically to make you comfortable, make your mind adjusted to this discipline. So in the beginning, I would say don't really try to achieve your timetable 100%. Don't try to achieve 100% efficiency. It may never be possible to achieve 93 out of 93 or maybe 62 hours out of 62 hours that you planned earlier. But in the beginning, try to take some baby steps and try to improve your efficiency week by week. And even if you're able to achieve 70 to 80% or even more percent of efficiency, then I think it is a very good number. And the whole idea, the plan is basically to discipline yourself, especially when you're in college. There is no one who will force you to study. They will, I mean, of course, you have some pressure from your parents, but as compared to your school, the pressure is not that much. It is all about you. You do have some freedom, and it is up to you how you want to spend your time. And finally, I would also say that if you want to follow a timetable, do it definitely. Try to follow a timetable, but also at the same time avoid distractions. We live in a world where we have distractions everywhere. We have Facebook, we have social networking sites, you have your friends who will probably bother you, and they will WhatsApp you every minute. So while you are doing your studies, during those time slots, I would say keep your phone in a flight mode. So even if someone is messaging you, they will not be able to reach you. So at least do it in the morning when you are studying and focusing on your primary activities. So this is all I wanted to share in this video, and I hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much.